Hello everyone, this is just another quick update to advise you of two new articles that have gone on to checktheevidence.com. Some of you may be subscribed to the email list, in which case you've probably already seen these, but if you aren't, then you might want to go and subscribe here, for example, and get yourself signed up in case, of course, this channel gets deleted. Okay, at the moment, I did recently post another 9/11 video, and that I thought that might get a strike, but it didn't. So that was again a bit inconsistent with what's been going on. But to go back to why I'm making this video, there's just a couple of articles. One is by Max Barker, who's from Cyprus, or he's been living in Cyprus, and he's been working on a new website, which I think is called the Eco-Humanist Research, and you can have a look at his website. There's a few articles on there that he's posted. This one here, of course, is the one that he sent me, and I've just reposted it directly on Check the Evidence. I've been corresponding with Max for a few years now, and he's sort of clued in to the way things have been unfolding, and he's written a good sort of analysis and summary of the COVID-19 pandemic, and he's called it a scientific and political problem. And in the first couple of paragraphs, you think he's kind of going along with the narrative because he describes it from that sort of perspective, but then he quickly gets into how the narrative falls apart when you start to study what they've actually based their pandemic on, and you go through quite a lot of evidence, and it's a good summary. It might be good to send to any sort of more academically inclined people that it might get them to think a bit. It's written in a kind of neutral sort of style, very direct, so you might want to give that a read. Nothing particularly new in there, but it's just a good summary of everything, and again, I got some quite good feedback about that, so make of that what you will. Following that then, this is kind of a sort of related article which I did. I started writing this probably about 6 weeks ago, and really this is about how I found myself in an unusual position because, I have a background in science. I work for a university as an online tutor. I don't actually go into the university, and I don't really give any formal lectures, but I do academic work, or something that's related to the academic sort of process, if you will. And so, doing Check the Evidence, I try and adopt that analytical approach to everything, as regular readers will know. And really, in this article, I'm trying to sort of remind people what the scientific method is, and the scientific method is different to science itself. And what's become clear, particularly with the COVID pandemic, but of course it started before that, is that people think that science is no good. They think it's too corrupted to be of any use to anybody, and therefore we shouldn't believe anything that comes out of a scientific establishment or somebody that's a scientist. And so this is a very big case of throwing the baby out with the bathwater, and this has really come to a head with people still promoting the flat earth psychological operation. So I mentioned that, and really I'm trying to again emphasize the importance of people doing their own study and observations so that they can free themselves of all the psychological operations, both the one that are operating in the mainstream, as in the COVID scam, 9/11, most of the others, and also the ones that are operating in the alternative knowledge community, like the flat earth psychological operation. So I end up at the end of the article talking about three worlds that people seem to be sort of living in, really, or they can live in one of these three worlds. There's kind of the layperson's world, where they don't get involved in science, and they don't really understand it, and they don't have time to study it because they're just kind of living their lives, and they've got to earn a living and so forth, and they don't have time to study things. They didn't really get it at school. Then you have world B, where you have the scientists that are there. They study things, they do analysis, they do reports, they do experiments, and they look at how the world works, but they don't look at things, when they find things they can't explain and the analysis tends to break down they tend to just say, well, that can't be real, you can't reproduce it, so just forget about it, it's just irrelevant. And then there are people like myself who have studied the things like, psychic phenomena, UFOs, weather modification, this sort of thing. And, I know that there is very important stuff in what I call World C, the kind of alternative knowledge world where things don't always make sense and you can't always just, break things down with scientific analysis. You do need, for example, to be open to things like the intuitive side, the spiritual side, and then really the frustration is when people jump from World A to World C and they think that everything in World B, the science world, is no longer valid, and they don't really want to look at World B and trying to learn about science. And I talk about things like calculus and how that was invented and how important that's been in, for example, developing technologies such as the ones that you're using now to hear my words and the ones that I'm using now to create this video. Do you understand how those work? I understand how those work because I've studied the science and the engineering behind them, and that's been part and parcel of my professional life. So this makes me very different to a lot of other people who are either in World A or World B or World C. I've sort of travelled between all those three worlds and tried to communicate between them. So that's what this article is about, and you might want to sort of read through it and see what you think. And I've had some pretty good feedback already, so I hope you'll get something out of it. So finally, following on from that then, what I'm going to do, I'm going to try and do over the next sort of few weeks, I'm coming into a quieter period of work now. Perhaps in June and July I'll have a bit less work, or late June and July. So I'm going to try and make some shorter videos relating to this, probably 2 or 3 videos. I don't think I'll do it in one, might be just 2 or 3, relating to this Wingmakers material, which is to do with consciousness and what humans actually are. And it relates to a number of concepts in things like spiritual teachings, Buddhism and Christianity, and it kind of talks about those in an overarching sense in a very powerful and succinct way. So I'm going to read out some of this text in future videos. I'll include a link in the description so you can just go and read it off the website there if you wish. But I'm going to try and make these into just readout videos basically. I might include a few images, but probably not. Because this is all feeding into this idea of consciousness and the soul and all of that. And I'm trying to put together a book about that based on a presentation I put together about 10, 11 years ago now, which I'll also include links to in the description. So you can expect to see 2 or 3 of these videos, and I hope you get something out of them. I think it's really powerful and interesting stuff, and it relates to everything that's going on now as well, or at least part of this does. So I hope that you'll be able to see that and appreciate that, and make your own sense of it or whatever. This is an old version now. This has all gone off their website. So you've got to go to the Internet Archive to access it. And it's interesting, I've found, how these themes recur both in things like Buddhism, in Hinduism, Christianity, and then in this, which is a secular material. It's not based on any religion, or anything like that. So I find it very interesting. So anyway, that's all I really wanted to say for now. And I hope you'll continue to use your own brains to make sense of what is going on, and I hope that you will continue to read and try and make sense of things, and I wish you all the best for now, and thanks for watching.